Good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful morning today. It is definitely feeling very spring-like. A lot of the birds are out and about and very loud this morning, but I wanted to pop outside before I do breakfast and all of that to grab some sweet peas because I kind of missed a lot of the flush of them while we were away for 10 days. They all kind of bloomed and a lot of them have started going to seed now. So I'm trying to just enjoy them while I can and just enjoy some time out here while it's a little bit cooler. Over the next few days, I just want to have like a few cozy days at home and kind of tick off the bucket list, my spring bucket list that I set in a previous video, and just get back into some of my hobbies and things that make me feel good at home. And I thought I would just put together a little video of all of that. So I definitely want to do a little bit of gardening, just probably a little bit of tidying up. I really want to bake something, probably something sweet and something savoury. I think we're going to do some blueberry muffins because blueberries are in season at the moment, and also maybe like a spinach pie or something like that with all of the greens, the spring greens that we have in the garden. And something I also really need to do and get started on is all of the spring seeds that I need to sow. So I have a few things that I want to get done over the next few days. We'll see how much we get done, but yeah, I hope you enjoy this cozy video. Make sure to grab a cup of tea or coffee or some other beverage and probably a snack for this video, and I hope you enjoy. I have been finding myself in the kitchen quite a lot lately, and I think it's just because it is quite hard to get outside with a little baby. So I really make the most of like nap times, and also Grayson is also just in the kitchen a lot with me at my feet, playing with toys or kitchen utensils or something like that. But I find baking really helps me regulate my nervous system. I love following a recipe and going through all of the steps. And springtime is just such a great time to use fresh produce in baking. So I thought today I would make some blueberry muffins. This wasn't my favorite recipe to use. I will link it in the description box, but yeah, not my favorite. I think the muffins were just a little bit too heavy, so I will probably try a different recipe next time, but this was definitely really delicious for the week, just to have something sweet on hand that isn't overly processed. I grew up eating beautiful baked goods. My Upa was a baker and my Uma also made really delicious baked goods, and they did so in this kitchen that I'm cooking in right now, and I know it probably brought them a lot of joy and helped to calm their nervous system as well. So yeah, I'm really trying to just lean into this as my hobby at the moment because it really does bring me a lot of joy and fulfillment, and we also get really delicious food from it as well. And I know Grayson loves to see the process of me putting something together, and he helps out where he can. We have an abundance of herbs in this cottage garden. I've really let the herbs go a little wild. We have so much parsley and rosemary right now, so that is also what I'm leaning into to try and create different dishes in the kitchen. I'm going to come back later and share how I'm making a rosemary mocktail with this rosemary here that was absolutely delicious, and a very different, interesting drink. But I'm also going to be using the last of the collards to make a spinach quiche, or a spinach pie. I like to call it more of a pie because it has a little less egg than a quiche would, but you can call it what you will. I will also include this recipe in the description box as well. The collards have definitely seen better days. They've all gone to seed and to flower, but I do find that I still don't mind the taste of these leaves. Sometimes when a plant starts to go to seed, the leaves can be quite bitter and quite tough, but these ones, if you cook them down right, they taste just like they would otherwise. So these are probably one of my favorite plants to grow and are packed full of nutrients and iron, and they're also just pretty hardy plants as well. So I will always be growing these in my winter garden, but now that it's spring, they are ready to pretty much finish up growing, and I will take these out and replace them with some other summer greens in this area. But for now, I am just enjoying the last few harvests of this as we can. I'm being pretty rough with the harvest here because these plants aren't going to last too much longer, but you really do get a great harvest from collards. These can grow really big as well. These ones were actually quite small. I don't think they had enough nutrients. However, if you have really packed nitrogen soil, you can get some really epic sized leaves. I'm also going to be harvesting a little bit of silver beet. This is by far my favorite thing to grow in terms of greens in the garden. It grows pretty much all year round here, and these are struggling with the size right now. I would like to see them grow a little bit bigger because I'm very eager to harvest these. I usually use more silver beet in this recipe, but for today we're also using collards. So once I harvest them, I give them all a little bit of a wash, and by now my kitchen is looking a little messy. Throughout the day, this is a bit of a realistic look at what my small little kitchen looks like. A bit chaotic, but we're making do. Like I said, I'll include the instructions and ingredients in the description box. But this pie is something that I grew up eating. My mum calls it an Estonian pie, and we have Latvian and Estonian heritage on my mum's side of my family. And to be honest, I haven't found too much information on where this originates from Estonia, but we've always had it in our family and we eat it lots. It's a very simple pie that you just fry up all of the spinach and some onion with some balsamic vinegar, and you make a very soft pastry for this. It's very simple to make. To some flour and baking powder and salt, you just rub in some butter, add in some tasty cheese. This pie is probably not the most macro friendly if you're on a diet. However, it is absolutely delicious, and Grayson also really loved this pie as well. I kind of just broke it up for him, and I've never seen a baby eat as much spinach as he did, so it's definitely a win-win for kids as well. But like I said, you just roll out the pastry. You don't need to cool it or anything like that. It's very simple. You do just want to kind of like flip it gently into the pastry or the pie dish that you have. This is probably the hardest part of the whole recipe, but once that's in, you pretty much just add in all of the filling, layering it with some Swiss cheese, and then adding some egg and milk, or you can use egg and cream for the filling, just to kind of cook it all together. You don't need to blind bake the pastry or anything like that. So yeah, it's really easy. I pretty much used most of the spinach and collards for this recipe. This was a little out of focus, but you kind of get the idea of how you layer on the different parts of the filling. And yeah, then I kind of folded over the sides a little bit to create a little bit more of a pie, and just to keep in all of the filling and the egg mixture. So this is something that is on regular rotation in our household. You can really add whatever you want into it. Traditionally, we had bacon in there, but Scott and I don't eat red meat at the moment. So that would also be nice if you do eat that. But it's a very rustic and delicious pie, and something that is great to use up all of those greens in the garden, and is a perfect spring dish in my opinion. Back in the garden, I am getting a lot of my seeds sown for my spring and summer garden. Firstly, I'm starting with some tomatoes, and I like to keep it really simple when sowing my seeds right now. This was during a nap time and I didn't have a lot of time to get everything done, so I'm just reusing some pots that I had around the place and filling it with some potting mix. I don't use anything in particular. I think this is a Scott's premium potting mix, I believe. You don't don't have to use seed raising mix, or you can just make your own really if you want. But I just fill those up and then I lightly sprinkle the tomato seeds on top. And I like to label everything just using old like Tetra packs of oat milk or soy milk or something like that, and use a permanent marker on those, and they work really well to just reuse something that you've probably got in your household for plant markers. But yeah, like I said, I keep it really simple and I just sprinkle these tomato seeds on top. I am not buying any seeds this year, so I'm kind of over sowing on a lot of them because these seeds are quite old. I think some of them are like a few years old. So this is a lot of tomato seeds to be sowing in here, and I doubt they will all germinate, but if they do, we'll have a lot of tomatoes to plant out into the garden. I'm going back to basics and just using the varieties that I know that grow well. So these are more paste tomatoes like the San Marzano tomato, and I'm also sowing Moneymaker because that grows really well. I had an amazing harvest last year of those. So those are the two tomatoes that I have sown in there. And then I'm going to be moving on to cucumbers. So I've got Space Master. Again, it's in the name really. It is a great cucumber. If you have smaller spaces, you don't actually need a trellis as well, although you can prop it up with small trellises if you don't want the cucumbers growing on the ground. But I'm also oversowing these just because these seeds are also a little bit old. You really don't need a lot of fancy equipment for seed raising and starting seeds. It doesn't have to be something that is expensive. I have received pretty much all of these I've got from either the Tip or Facebook Marketplace. There are always people giving away free pots, and I mean, if you're in the Shoalhaven area, definitely send me a message if you would like some seed starting equipment, because I'm going to be getting rid of a lot of the equipment that I have because I can't take it with me to our new place. So if over the next few months, if you are starting like a flower farm or a garden and you live in the Shoalhaven, please do send me a message and we can meet up, and I will gladly pass on a lot of these old pots for you and seed raising equipment. Right, so I have just finished doing some seed sowing. A lot of my seeds are very old, so I don't know how well they're going to germinate, but in this little tray here I have some tomatoes. I have Moneymaker and San Marzano, some Space Master cucumbers. I have two different ones just because I'm not too sure if the seeds are too old. And then I have a bunch of zucchinis. I'm not too sure if they're going to germinate either, so I planted heaps. I'm not going to plant all of these in the ground if they all germinate, but I really do want some zucchinis. So I planted some Black Beauty, Golden, I think Coco Zell, and early straight neck zucchini, I believe. So we shall see how they do. And then over here, I started with 2 little punnets of the spring onions, and I decided to just do a whole tray. So I have 8 punnets of, I just do little 6 cells in each punnet of spring onions. And then I have some lettuce leaf basil and the Bennery's giant zinnias. I have giant purple and giant lime, and some more lettuce planted in here. So this is my also documenting diary of what I have sowed, because I kind of gave up on labeling all of these punnets just because I don't have a lot of time during nap time. So this is going to be my reference point for these seeds. So I've just watered them and I'll just let them dry off a little bit and then pop them up high so that the bandicoot doesn't dig in them. But yeah, hopefully they will fill all of the spaces in the garden. I know it doesn't look very empty, but it is about to be empty when I do some gardening this afternoon. And I think I'm going to do a little garden vlog over the next few days. All right, coming back to the kitchen to make this simple rosemary syrup that I'm going to use in a mocktail, but you could just use this as kind of a cordial with soda water or just water if you want to. It is absolutely delicious, so simple. like the name says, this is how you make syrup for basically anything. You could do this with mint or lemon myrtle. I've done it with rosellas before. All you need is a cup of sugar, a cup of water, and about a quarter to a third of a cup of whatever you're using, really. I just stripped all of those rosemary leaves off. Then you want to bring that to a boil and then let it simmer on a medium heat for about a minute or so, making sure that all of the sugar is dissolved, and then just take it off the heat and let it sit and steep for about half an hour or so and let it cool. Then you can jar it up and you have a simple syrup. You can also do this with fruit. Like, I know people make blueberry syrup for coffees. Sounds very interesting. It's very popular at the moment, but I am yet to try it. This is very heavy on the rosemary scent, so I'd probably next time use a little less rosemary, but it was still very delicious, and you don't need a lot for making this drink. I made some ice cubes the other day and included that in another video. I have some borage and calendula in these ice cubes to make them a little bit more colourful, but you just want to add some ice, a little bit of syrup. I added way too much syrup to this drink. I don't particularly like things too sweet, so this was way too sweet for me. I would just use like half or a quarter of what I used here, but Scott really did like this drink. And then I use about half a cup of freshly squeezed orange juice. This would look a little bit more aesthetic if you didn't add the pulp, but I'm not going to not add the pulp because we enjoy that in our drinks. And then just top it up with some soda water, add a little garnish on if you want to, and there you go. That is a delicious spring mocktail. Definitely let me know if you try it, if you try this simple rosemary syrup. I know it sounds a little different and I was a little skeptical at first. However, the taste of rosemary goes really well in sweet things, and definitely let me know if you try this drink out. I really hope you enjoyed today's video where I just shared a little bit of what we're getting up to in the kitchen and in the garden, and just a few ways that I'm trying to enjoy this spring season. Something I am also trying to do is to be really intentional about the content that I'm consuming. And I spoke about this in another video that I shared, just talking about how I'm feeling about social media at the moment. And I am happy that I think I am doing a little better in terms of the type of content that I'm consuming. I'm really being a little bit more intentional and not consuming too much short form content. Just for me personally, it just doesn't really sit that well with my brain. But if I do choose to consume it, then I'm trying to just follow people who I actually follow, rather than just doing the mindless scrolling and going onto people's pages and kind of catching up and seeing what they're up to. It has been a lot better for my brain and not over consuming content online. I did get a question a few videos back, and I've also received it on Instagram as well, about the content creators that I like to watch. And I love when other creators share who they like to watch. It's how I find new creators, and I'm sure if you like my content that you might like some of the other people that I like to watch. So I thought I would share just a few people who I'm currently watching and catching up on some of the things that they're up to. The first one is a big one, and I'm sure you'll probably already know this, but I do love watching garden answer throughout their autumn and Christmas and winter season. She has very cozy videos, and I know like her garden and her place, while it's wonderful and beautiful, it's so unrealistic for a lot of us home gardeners, but I do love to get inspiration from a lot of her content, and I love seeing all of the Christmas videos that she creates. So that's a channel that I will be watching over the next few months. I've also been really liking Lammas Earth Center. I think that's how you pronounce it. I recently found this permaculture channel, and I really love their ethos and just the way that they have set out their gardens on their property, and they're very, very calming videos, very nature-based, and I'm sure you will enjoy some of their content. So that is another channel I've been really liking, as well as Little Spanish Farmstead. I have watched them for quite a while, a few years really. And Harriet and Mauro have created such a beautiful farmstead, and is very also inspirational just in terms of just the types of materials they use for their builds, their gardens as well, very permaculture based, and reusing a lot of things, which I also really like. And I just find their videos very well put together and enjoyable to watch. I've also been liking Tanya from Lovely Greens. I've watched her for quite a while, and I know you'll probably love her gardens as well. I just watched her most recent video where she announced that she's moving, so that's going to be really interesting to see her new property and how her garden goes on there. But I always love catching up on her garden. And I know all of these are Northern Hemisphere based. That's just what's in my feed right now. I feel like when it hits autumn over there and spring here, I don't know, I get an influx of all of the cozy kind of channels and gardening, like all the harvests and preserving that happens in the Northern Hemisphere. So that's just, I feel like that's where my YouTube algorithm is at right now. I still do watch a lot of Australian creators. However, they're just always in my subscription feed, and you know, I catch up on them where I can, but this is just my current go-to list. And there are way more creators in the Northern Hemisphere, so I naturally watch a lot more. That's just how it is. I would love to see more Aussie creators and people in the Southern Hemisphere. However, the last two channels, they're not really garden channels, they're more like cozy channels. I really love Morgan and Felix from Couple of Goofs. Loved them for a while. They just have the really safe, cozy internet space that I often crave. I always know if I watch their videos, I just feel comfortable, and I really appreciate it when creators can make you feel that way. So I really love their content. I like watching their kind of like cleaning videos or organizing videos, as well as their cozy travel vlogs. And I'm really looking forward to all of their cozy content in the cooler seasons in the US. And the last one on my list is Kennedy from Cozy K. I have watched her for quite a while. I used to watch her a lot on Twitch, watching her gaming streams, and she has very, very cozy content. It is literally in the name. Her whole channel is about cozy content, and she always makes me want to bring out my Nintendo Switch and play all of those cozy games like Stardew and Animal Crossing, which I would love to have a bit more time to do that, and I need to prioritize that because that makes me feel really good. So hopefully over the next few weeks I can get a little bit of gaming done as well, because that would be really, really nice. So that is who I'm currently watching at the moment. I think I'm going to leave this video here, but I will include like a little sneak peek of next video. I am filming like a bit of a spring garden video. I'm kind of redoing a lot of the cottage garden, just prepping it for all of the spring crops, for all of those seeds that we sowed in this video. And I teared out the broad beans the other day because I was just so sick of all of the aphids and just the damage that they've done. So the broad beans are gone, and I tidied up a lot of the jonquils as well. I'm just done with those, and they're just such a snake hazard right now in my garden. I don't even care that I cut them back too soon in terms of like having energy go back to the bulbs, because we're not really going to be here next year, and they have just exploded in growth and really naturalized along the pathways anyway, so I know that they will come back anyway. But yeah, lots of things are changing in the garden, and I'm just trying to, right now in the present, trying to figure out where I want to put all of the seeds, which will be the plants, where I want to plant them in the garden, and just trying to prep all of the spaces and tidy things up. So it's going to look a little bit bare and empty for a while. I need to just give it all a refresh, give it some garden lime and probably some worm castings. I have some compost that I need to harvest from all of the compost tumblers, and just do a good spring refresh for the last few months of growing on this property. So you can look forward to a garden video, hopefully next video, if not the one after that. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have made it this far. Leave me a little spring flower emoji or something like that, or just tell me what you're excited for spring or autumn, or how your garden's going. I always love reading comments in the comment section, and I do try and get back to them, but I do definitely always read them. So I really appreciate any comments that you leave, and I always love when you share your stories. It really makes my day reading a lot of them. So I'm going to go finish my coffee while I enjoy the nap time calmness, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely, cozy day. Bye.